Great experiences don't build themselves.
Behind every personalized journey is complexity, tools, teams, and tech.
AI moves fast. Expectations move faster.
Adobe Experience Cloud offers the power, but strategy turns potential into performance.
This is Off the Grid with Brandy.
Subscribe, align your stack, accelerate your enterprise. You're listening to Off the Grid with Brandy, the podcast that turns enterprise chaos into clarity. We decode technology with insights from industry leaders and experts at AM Analytics Consulting. Let's dive in.
Recording now.
Awesome.
All right. So welcome to AM and Analytics Podcast, where we'll be kind of digging into AI. We'll be talking about a lot of different things. And this is Off the Grid with Brandy because it's after work and it's a good time, right? So now I would like to introduce my guest, Abraham Sanchez. You want to tell tell everyone about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Randy, for having me. I'm the head of technology at Hype Digital. Hype Digital is a marketing agency. We work with companies all across US, and basically we provide them with some value related to SEO, content, marketing in general, some strategies around how you can put content in a way that your clients can find you, really easy. But also like be your partner in that ecosystem. My background it's in computer science, so I'm super um, willing to share, a lot of technical aspect as well of business. So
Nice. I think that those are some of the most important things. So this is exciting. Thank you for coming. So our topic today is how AI and LLMs are reshaping the digital agencies from workflow to client value, right?
yeah.
So the first portion is, 60%, of course, now with AI, everything is 60% faster. The workflows are faster. What does that actually mean to you, or what does that actually mean within the realm of artificial intelligence?
Well, for us, there is a practical use case for this. For example, one of them is that during the content creation process that we have, we were able to decrease like from 1 hour to create a piece of content that it took before for our content writers to 20 minutes or less. That it's probably 60-70% of decrease on time. But the great thing here, it's not just reducing time, just of the sake of reducing that time, but also how you can utilize that time and allocating that time into a more quality tasks now, because you are reducing manual tasks that before it took minutes and hours to our content writers to do it. But now they can have a piece of content that based on the way we automate the process and we redefine the whole process, now the output of it's even with more quality. So the first draft they have and they receive and they can work with it all also have all the elements that they need in order to then do the QA and stuff like that and add the touches. So now they can have more in-depth conversation with clients to understand pain points, goals, and create more content that will allow them to reach their goals as well. So the important here is not just to use AI because it's a trend or to reduce and that's it, but it's the final purpose of why you want to use AI and what tools you can use to do it as well.
I think people don't understand, like you said, it's an enhancer, right? So now it's like your personal assistant. And especially within the world of content, it can start to minimize a lot of those content driven things. And now your developers can kind of start to move along to like different aspects. Like even as a development manager, like sometimes my developers, we get so upset with the fact that now what the product manager is asking us to do content updates and we're just but it allows for some of those like remedial tasks or different tasks, right, to be executed in different ways. So now you have your team focused in on other stuff, and I think
Yeah.
that that's important. Yeah. In regards to what tools and metrics are you using to kind of measure speed? I know it's an important question, and we don't talk about, well, how do we actually measure the speed, or what is the kind of determining factors in that?
Sure. Well, that is a really interesting question because there are many tools right now, and I think that the majority of the business leaders that need to take action on this sometimes they paralyze because there are a lot of tools, right? And a lot of ways you can approach this. But the ones that help us is to understand, first of all, what is our end goal? and
Yeah.
and everything start right there, right? Technology, it's a tool that you can use, but to a purpose. So having that in mind and that clear, then you can move forward. So for us, sometimes it's to use a third-party provider, or sometimes it's to build it like in-house. And depending on the project and how faster we have it, I have a matrix, decision matrix that I use for that. But in a nutshell, we usually are using LangChain or QAI for like those are orchestrator platforms that allow us to have um, all the possibility to tweak things according to our processes,
Yeah.
and that helps a lot on that. And since we use Salesforce as our main system, we track all of our tasks right there. So we can measure, okay, before it took 1 hour, now it takes 20 minutes, and we are improving in this way. And because we have also conversation with our clients, and we are recording those and sending those and synchronizing that information to Salesforce, then we can also do cross-reference across our data.
Yeah, yeah. I know like Google Locker Studios and a tool also. And to your point, like I've built some kind of in-house measurable aspects so that we can kind of start to see, well, what exactly is the project length, right? Is it shortening up in regards to our task and how efficient are we being? So I think that those are some great things of what you said too, in regards to like you can do some internal builds, and then there's also some plugins and some additional third parties that you can add on that can
Yeah.
allow you to just flow a lot better and make sure that you're keeping up with the speed. Because if we have AI and we're not measuring speed and we don't know the duration of projects, right,
Yeah.
it gets hard to understand the value of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think are some of the pitfalls in regards to adapting to AI without, in regards to like workflow design and things of that nature? Because there can be a lot of pitfalls in AI, with workflow designs and how they can be efficiently ran.
Yeah, well, one that I see a lot is that many of the business leaders, they want to automate process that are already updated, you know.
Yeah.
So they want to automate their current processes. But what they don't understand is that now that you have AI, you can have a set of AI agents where you can then partner with your team to create amazing things. So
Mhm.
if you don't understand how to take fully advantage of AI, you will probably replicate what you are doing. But like if you are providing some value, but it's not enough, you will do it with AI, but faster. That's
Yeah.
it. Not better. But with AI, you have the possibility that if you understand how you can redesign the whole process by having AI
Yeah.
and what output you want, then you can create amazing things, by redesigning the process. So that's one of the things that I'm seeing. Another one is the one that I shared before, that there are many tools that you can use, and sometimes that tends to paralyze the decision because you want to invest um, on something that you think it will help, but since there are a lot of platforms, you don't know which one to choose, right?
Yeah.
So having someone that can coach you in that direction can help you a lot on that. And yeah, those are the mains that I'm seeing right now, like the pitfall. And then also talent, I think it's really important for this because sometimes you think that because someone is in the technology side of the business, they are supposed to know AI,
Yeah.
but that's not the case. So you need to find someone that can help you out with that.
I agree. I think I love one point that you brought up in regards to like sometimes people aren't big picture, and it's hard to say this, and I know hopefully people won't get upset, but big picture enough, right? You can look at something from the standpoint of it just kind of coming in and duplicating tasks. But to your point, you have to look at what's the larger picture and what are all the tasks that need to be under the umbrella. And it's
Mm.
okay if leaders take a second, kind of think that out a little bit of how all the process starts to align. And then you can come up with something that is like the ultimate machine rather than now. Again, it's just kind of being there to be able to kind of push or like, pencil push just one particular thing, right? So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
1,000% agree with you, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of options too. So there's a lot of different agents. And if you don't know, if you're not technical enough to know which ones you should kind of pick, it can be a very big downfall for your organization. So I
yeah,
1,000% agree. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So can you tell us about maybe some use cases that have really kind of worked out within your organization? Any kind of case studies to where you guys have been successful with implementation of artificial intelligence.
Sure. We have two that I can share. One of them, it's for the onboarding, for example, the
Okay.
onboarding process. So before our account managers, they will need to be on those calls and then take notes for themselves, but also to create summary, to send it to clients like the CTAs and all the information, and then pass that information over to the rest of our team so they can understand which tasks they need to complete and all that process, right? But then what we use is another tool that allow us to have like the raw transcription, but also we created an internal process that by using a framework
Nice.
allow them to focus on asking the right question. They no longer need to be taking notes and making sure that they have the information like on their notes, but now they can fully focus on the client, their needs, their pain points, and all of that. And because the AI was taking care of the note taking,
Hmm.
now they are immersed on that. But also after we receive the transcription and we pass it through this AI process, we synchronize the data to Salesforce and to other platforms that we
Right.
use to track the tasks. So the task creation also can be automated, and you don't need to create tasks for someone else because the AI can do that. So we're talking about decreasing like 1 minute that could be like 30 minutes, and the post work of that could be another 1 hour. So 1 hour and a half, the whole process. Now it could take like 40 minutes, 10
Yeah.
minutes more of the meeting, and that's it. And you know that all CTAs, all tasks will be sent to the appropriate teammates. So everything like that. That's one of the cases. The other one, it's the content creation that I was talking about before. That like if you have a lot of pieces of content that you need to create and you can increase the quality while you also decrease the time that it takes to produce those pieces of content, you are doing a lot of improvement within
Yes.
your organization. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, those are great. Especially I can imagine like to be able to take the information and be able to pass it along to your CRMs and your CMSs, and then now you're minimizing that process, so you need all of these systems in order to be successful, but you do need a platform because sometimes I think what people don't realize is you may have Salesforce as your CRM, but then AEM as your
Mm,
content management system, and
yeah.
who knows what else. And you still have to have all, and they have plugins for these systems to work together. But I don't know how companies are, if companies honestly are ensuring that they're working together at its best. And I
Yeah.
agree. So artificial intelligence can definitely be the bridger there, right? So now that's a great
Yeah.
example. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, because the majority of companies use a lot of silos platform. So
Yeah.
the integration of that information it's really important, and that's where AI can excel as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. So
Yeah.
let's go to the manual to magical, right? And how we can process automation into agencies, right? So, what are some example of some real automation? Like maybe like reporting or some of the onboarding. I know people use like Zapier or some other kind of reporting agencies. Are there anything in regards to automation that like you're currently kind of working on in regards to that your agency's working on?
Sure. There are many tools that you can use, Zapier, Make,
Mhm.
NAN,
Yeah.
but also it again, it depends on your goal. And what I used to think about is like if I need to create an MVP first to
Yeah.
validate the idea, and from there, if it's an MVP, then you can create that with Zapier, Make, or any platform like those, right? That are no codes and allow you to have something in place like in really fast. But then, if you think that this is something that will move forward because it's really important for your organization, it's a key process that you are improving, then probably you need to think about it as a tool that you can use. You will improve over time, but also it can convert into a new source of income
Yeah.
because you can create a platform from it and then maybe resell it to your clients or other third party, So if you want to take that step, then you will need to invest a little bit more on platforms that allow you more flexibility than the
Yeah.
ones that I mentioned before, QAI, Land Change, and Llama Index,
Yeah.
and many others. You will need more technical background, let's say, but you can start with those basic tools like Zapier and other integrators, and from there you can move on.
Yeah. I think that's another way for digital agencies to kind of start looking at this. Like you said, right? They can start off in regards to now not only just servicing clients, but now you're creating individual client or individual agents that you can either partner with like an AI company and be able to have all inclusiveness, but build out those customized, agents for those organizations. And digital agencies can kind of really come in and back that and really be like a large part of it, right? Because once
Yeah.
you've customized it for your own organization, now you can customize it for anybody and you can continue to kind of sell it. And really, digital agencies can look at marketing from a different perspective now.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. What's one of your favorite? I know you kind of said it. So one of your favorite, what's your favorite kind of technical stack?
Well, to be honest, it's hard to answer that. My business side of it, it tells me every time, okay, let's go with something that we can validate as faster as possible,
Yeah.
and then probably we can move forward with another tool. But then my developer side of me tell me, okay, let's do something robust from the beginning, and from scratch, and let's use this and that. But at the end, we are in a faster war right now that it's growing really, really fast. So you don't have time right now to create things from scratch the majority of the time. So my advice will be to start with something that you can validate with no time, and you can use no code app platforms like you mentioned Make, for example, that it's a user friendly, anyone can use that one. But then what I prefer to use is a stack that includes Python, LangChain, Llama Index, and Crew AI, just because those allow me to have all the flexibility that I want, and
Yeah.
I can accomplish whatever I need, without any restrictions. And now there are many protocols. Like, for example, we have MCP that allowed you to create interconnection between tools, right? It's like what it's APIs right now, but for AI, you know.
Yeah.
So we have NCP, and Google released a couple weeks ago another protocol that allowed you to have communication between AI agents as well, not just the agent with tools and multiple tools, which is what NCP does, but also this one, it's more like a agent to agent
Mhm.
framework and
Yeah.
communication. So now you can have different agents that have different type of tools
Yeah.
that communicate between them and like orchestrator, and then you can have the best output possible.
Yeah.
So that flexibility is what you get when you are using like coding
Yeah.
tools.
Totally agree. I think that Google, like that was a game changer, right? To now where you can start to kind of interconnect a lot of the agents. And I was like, oh man, like
Mhm.
people, the progression of artificial intelligence moves at such rapid rate pace that I don't even think half the people are kind of ready for it. But when I saw that, I was like, oh man, this is a super game changer in regards to, how
Yeah,
the agents will communicate and how more efficient, like, how efficient the process will be across the board. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah. Um, in
absolutely.
regards to, yeah, I mean that's something that I think is super big. So in regards to kind of going into like the build versus buy, right? And I think this is something that art isn't really kind of talked about. And I think both of us being developers at heart, right? Like, of course, we always are kind of more on the build side. But from your decision making and your perspective, are you more on the build side? And I know you kind of went over it, but like overall, do you think companies should take the build or the buy? Should it be something more customizable? Even though you can customize some of the buys, should they really build or should they buy?
Again, it depends, and what I use to take that decision is this framework that I told you before. The framework, it's like a mnemonic from cost. So the C stand for complexity. How complex is the solution that you need to build in order to be viable to utilize it.
Yeah,
The O is for stand for ownership, that it's
yeah,
basically related to your data and the privacy of it and the IP compliance, the intellectual property of it. If you are working with a regulated industry,
yeah,
so that depends a lot on that decision as well. The S is from speed, like how tight is the deadline that you need to fulfill,
yeah,
and that depends, because if you have like 3 months to accomplish something, that it's not that hard, and but you need a lot of flexibility, and you can share that data with a third party, then you can probably create a custom development for that. But if you don't have a lot of time, then probably you want to move forward with an MVP, where you use Zapier or Make or another no code tool. And then lastly, the T is from talent, because you need to understand if you have that talent inside your organization or not.
Yeah.
Or you will outsource that to a third party, or you will buy an existing solution. So depending on that, it's where we take the decision. So in order to give you context, for example, when we were talking about this project for the client experience improvement, where our account managers talk with the clients, um, we could create a custom solution that allows us to transcribe all the calls, and from there create the agents to provide the final output to Salesforce, right? But there were many tools that already have that. So what we ended up utilizing is a platform called Grain. So Grain allow us to have the transcription. We can automate some processes inside Grain, like by utilizing templates. And from there, we send that data to another internal tool that we develop. We process that information, and finally, through APIs, we send that information to Salesforce. So it was a mix of something already in the market, where that helped us a lot, and we had that MVP up and running like in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was great to have that. And from there, we kept improving it. So it was great.
Yeah, I think the especially the real question is like if you have the talent, because I think a lot of organizations can say, "Hey, I want to build this great thing out," right? But if you don't one know how to source for the talent, right? Because I think that a lot of
Yeah,
just because
that's
somebody
right.
is an artificial intelligence, developer, that doesn't mean, or a
Yeah.
ML developer, that doesn't mean that they really know how to develop, right? Then you could be stuck on a project for like 3 to 6 months, and just kind of like, what exactly is the output here, right?
Sometimes you have a talent they are really good at the coding side, but they don't understand the business side of it.
Yep.
So they spend a lot of time on the coding side without releasing anything, and when they release something, it wasn't what the business needed. So
That's why requirements do have to be like in line, right? So you have to have all of these different aspects that run, and you have to have people who are technically savvy, but you also have to have very business minded people in your organization too, because that's the only way to be successful. Hey, so I totally agree. What are some of the cost decisions that were wrong decisions that you've seen, maybe not even within your organization, or if so, or maybe other organizations that you've heard of? What's been a nightmare story?
well, I remember, I think it was back in 2023, we started to play with AI. We wanted to create this content process and do it faster with AI. So we started to utilize Crew AI, LangChain, and those platforms. But LLMs were not yet at the point that will provide us the best output from it. So
Yeah.
we were trying with different models, spending budget on those, but at the end, we decided that it was not the right time for it. So we focus on this other project that provide us the right output, like the client experience project. And we understood that sometimes it's okay if you played with what it's in the market, outside in the market, but although you are working with technology, and for example, myself, I love technology, but that doesn't mean that the technology is there yet to utilize in specific ways. But you still need to play with it to understand what are the limits, and to understand that when those limits are reached, now that unlocks you the possibility to utilize those. So that's something that happened to us in the past.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking at the networking event. One thing that I saw the organization do is if you don't have approvals from the bottom to the top to the top to the bottom to the left to the right, it completely stop your process. And I remember a time working within, having everything approved up until a certain point, but when it got to the infrastructure team, they were like, "No, we didn't. We've not even heard of this project before. What are you?"
That happens a lot.
And you're like meeting with the infrastructure team. They're like, "You're trying to bring us in at the tail end and you want to rush us? No, it doesn't work that way." And you're like, "No, infrastructure team, please." They're like, "No." So you do have to have alignment within the organization, and you have to know like everybody has to have buy-in, right? So that when it comes to these certain points of the project, it's not completely held up, and you have to have that buy-in early so people aren't scrambling at the last minute. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts from the leadership, but also it goes down to everyone. We all need to be aligned on this. So
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. What can clients evaluate if they're not technical, right? So that they can ensure that what they're getting is a good like process out. So what are some good evaluation aspects that clients can kind of understand so that if they're not technical, so they can be like, oh, okay, this seems like some progress here as they're going through the evolution of AI.
well, that's a good question. And I think that our best approach to utilize are our clients' feedback. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are paying for your services, your products. So if you create an MVP, what the best thing that you can do is um, send the output of whatever you are working to or to your clients so they can provide you feedback as soon as possible, and then you can feed the AI and your process with that feedback,
Yeah.
and they will tell you when they are receiving what they want or what they expect. So if you are not technical and you don't have or don't understand the KPIs that you can work around this, the best way to do it and the simplest way to do it is by taking feedback from your clients
Yeah.
and feed the process with it.
Yeah, I agree. Checks and balances to ensure everything is going smoothly is super, super, super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ensuring that the process is just and the projects are on task.
Mhm.
This next session is a little dear, right? Especially in the facts that we're both representing like the Black and Brown communities. I kind of wanted to ask a little bit just about numbers in regards to the Latin American community and how that kind of works out, especially from a tech leadership perspective, right? So I think one thing that especially maybe young developers, especially like brown developers who want to kind of get into the space, what's your journey and how did that kind of all kind of rise up to be where you're at right now in regards to leading a department and leading a AI or head of the technology division, AI division. What was your journey like?
Well, I grew up in Nicaragua and I studied computer science. I love technology since I was like 6 or something like that when I first utilized a computer. Um, so for me, when I was like 20, I started my first company. It was a software development factory in Nicaragua. From Nicaragua, we serve clients from US, Central America, South America, Europe as well, because we developed a mobile app in 2014 that was meant to like users can find restaurant on a budget. At that time, it was something new, so we won a lot of exposure, like from Forbes and many others media. And because of that, we started working with big companies like banks and other financial institutions. But then at some point, well, we were like 40 developers, and it was great. We were doing amazing. But at some point, I decided that I wanted to try something else, like wanted to focus now on working directly with US clients. So I moved to digital where I am right now, and I'm leading the technical department, like the technology department. And I have now 4 years since I took that decision. It was amazing because now I can focus also in creating solution for many clients
Nice.
across different sectors. And the interesting part of it is that it doesn't matter where you are, because you can now with internet, with AI, you can learn whatever you want. Um, the same platform that someone used to have entertainment, that it's YouTube, another one can use it to learn something new, and to create a new source of income and even a whole new company from it. So we have the same opportunities right now. And it's just a matter of taking advantage of them.
I agree. I agree. With the Latin American kind of culture becoming growing in hubs within tech innovation right now, right? What do you think that what do you think kind of like some of the professionals are, what will allow them to be like even more creative, right? More innovative and more collaborative? Do you think they should like join organizations like if they're in smaller countries, or do you think that is there anything that would be very forward movement that will allow for more growth within their careers?
Yeah, well, something that had helped me a lot is to go to events
Mhm.
where the majority of the people knows more than me are, like for example, I went to a couple of events in Silicon Valley, and they are not just utilizing AI. They are creating AI and tools every day. So people there are prepared to pitch their companies every time. If you go to a coffee shop or any place or restaurant, you will see that they are prepared for it. So being exposed to new ecosystem, it's really important. Also workshops, online events, be part of communities as well. It's something really important because that's the way you can see and understand what is happening outside your world. So that is something that had helped me. But also there are many platforms that allow you to train yourself. It could be in Spanish, it could be in English, it could be in Portuguese, whatever platform you want, it's okay. Because now also that it's something really important that with AI and as the AI continue to progress, probably language will not be a barrier anymore.
I agree.
So it's just a matter of you taking time to learn and improve yourself, and probably more opportunities will come your way.
Yeah, yeah. I travel quite a bit. So I was in South America not too long ago in Ecuador, but I've also been to Africa. And when I sit and have an opportunity to talk to students, I tell them all the time because I try to, galvanize as many students as possible to talk about tech while I'm in places. And I say, like the internet is your best friend, if you want to learn what new technologies are coming out, if you want to advance yourselves, it's good to kind of look at like the social media fun stuff, but there is a very deep educational kind of aspect to social media and, all of these different platforms that will allow your life to be transformative. So that is like super, I totally agree with you. It's super important. So we have one more question before we get to a game, right? I have a game for us to play, right? But it's a fun
Okay.
game, so don't
Okay.
worry. So we have one more question before the game. So, just put some factors and numbers out. So, despite right now, like Latinos make up about 19% of the US population, right? And they account for 10% of the workforce and tech workforce, right? 6% within tech roles, and 5% in regards to executive leadership, right? So, in regards to globalization and AI projects, and how clients benefit, what's the message that you have for just, the Latin community, obviously Black and Brown communities, because the African American numbers aren't much different from this. What's the message that you have to minority communities in regards to, how we can improve these numbers and just how we can be better overall?
Well, sometimes I think that we are pursuing like jobs,
Mm.
not and not like creating those jobs.
Yeah.
And right now there is a trend where the majority of companies want to use heavily AI, and they think that they don't need a lot of talent anymore. So there are a lot of jobs that are not in the market right now available. So the best way you can provide value to many businesses is by creating your own solutions.
Yeah.
And if you create your own solution, you can impact even more people that if you get hired from a company, because now you can create those jobs as well. So my recommendation will be, if you have the right skills, or you want to come to the technology world, and you are part of a minor community, you can create those opportunities for you. You don't need to wait for those opportunities to come your way. You can create those opportunities by creating some amazing projects, and those start with clients' needs. So if you are aware that someone like a niche needs something that it's not in the market and you can do it, that's a good start from a business,
Yeah.
so you create those.
Opportunities for yourself. I agree. I think that people have to be innovative, to your point, right? Look at what the need is and look at those skill sets and grow it, right? And now you start to create something for yourself that you wouldn't even imagine. But you have to be in the perspective now in the space of innovation, or else, it's easy to get lost, right? Unless you're kind of being more innovative and you're kind of like heading into another direction so you can be successful. That's just a big part of what the world is coming to, right?
Yeah, that is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the game is called What in the World, right? So we are gonna get a technical question and we have to try to solve the question in 2 minutes. And I will put 2 minutes down on our time clock here, and we can probably give just a few answers in regards to what in the world, right? What in the world? So what in the world if we launched an AI powered assistant that helps streamline developer workflows and it's auto generating snippets, right? And everything goes down. What do we do to try to refactor to make sure, or until the assistant starts refactoring live production without warning? So now it's just pushing stuff. What in the world do we do to try to fix this? Because now AI has taken over. Go.
That's super interesting. Well, I think that I will start with the logs from previous iteration. That it's a good start, and we can train another LLM based on that historical information to have something that can allow us to have a MVP, like a side MVP, while another team is working to reactivate the other one. What
Yeah.
do you think?
I agree. First, let's go ahead and deactivate this one. But at the same time, we need to be looking at the logs to kind of figure out exactly where we can try to implement some new processes. And then also, I kind of like think tanks. So I automatically bring all of the developers together and start having think tanks so we can start writing issues down and kind of writing things out. So I agree,
Yeah.
logs and then thinking.
And and
Yeah,
and and also gathering developers, you need pizza to it. And
I agree.
if you put pizza and coffee or tea, whatever you like, you will enjoy challenges.
I agree.
So that's the
Makes
fun.
it a lot better. No. Well, thank you, right? You played my game with me. We had a great talk. Thank you very much for your time. We want to definitely will, have all the information posted, but I just wanted to thank you for joining and thank you for being a part of it. Okay.